What if the problem with your breakfast isn't that you're eating too little protein, but that your muscles have become harder to convince to use it? Imagine this: you're 68. You wake up, make 3 eggs, maybe add some vegetables, pour your coffee, and feel pretty good about your breakfast. 3 eggs give you high-quality protein. You're doing what you've been told to do. But months or years later, you notice something strange. The stairs feel harder, getting out of a low chair takes more effort. A grocery bag that used to feel light suddenly feels heavy. And you may wonder, how did I get weaker? I'm eating healthy. Here's the part most people over 60 never hear explained. Aging can make your muscles less responsive to the protein you eat. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. Your body still needs protein. In fact, protein becomes even more important as you age. But the muscle-building response to a given amount of protein can become weaker. That means the way you build a muscle-supporting breakfast after 60 may need to change. And there is one simple mistake I want you to avoid. Don't start thinking that certain vegetables are bad or toxic with eggs. They aren't. Spinach isn't poison. Tomatoes aren't destroying your muscles. Bell peppers aren't blocking your protein. Those claims are significantly exaggerated and don't match what we see in the clinic. The real question is much more useful. How can you build a breakfast that gives your muscles enough high-quality protein, along with the nutrients that help your body use that protein effectively? That's what we're going to uncover. And stay with me, because one of the vegetables I'm going to recommend is especially interesting when paired with eggs. But first, let's talk about what changes after 60. I've seen a pattern over and over again. An older adult comes in after a fall. Maybe they fractured a wrist, maybe they injured a hip. Maybe they simply lost their balance getting out of the shower. The fall gets everyone's attention. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more tips on aging well and join the conversation in the comments below. But the weakness that contributed to that fall may have been developing quietly for years. That's sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass, strength, and physical function. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly lose all your muscle. It happens gradually. You notice it when you push off the arms of a chair. You notice it when carrying groceries. You notice it when climbing stairs. And sometimes you don't notice it until something goes wrong. The good news is that muscle is remarkably adaptable. Even in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, your body can respond to resistance exercise and adequate nutrition. But you have to give it the right signal. And one of the most important signals comes from protein. Think of your muscle like a construction site. Protein supplies the raw materials. But your body also needs the right amino acids and enough of them at the right time to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. One amino acid gets particular attention here: leucine. Leucine is one of the essential amino acids found in high-quality protein foods such as eggs, dairy, fish, meat, and soy. It helps activate pathways involved in muscle protein synthesis. And this is where aging becomes important. A younger person's muscle may respond strongly to a relatively small protein dose. An older muscle often needs a stronger signal. That's one reason researchers have studied the idea of a protein or leucine threshold. You don't need to obsess over a magic number, but many experts recommend that older adults aim for roughly 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at a meal, depending on body size, activity level, and individual needs. And here's where 3 eggs become interesting. 3 large eggs provide around 18 grams of protein. That's a very good start, but for many older adults, it may not be enough by itself to maximize the muscle-building response of that meal. So instead of asking, which vegetable blocks my eggs, ask a better question. What can I add to my eggs that makes the entire breakfast more nutritious and helps me reach my protein goal? Now let's clear up the first myth: spinach. You may have heard that spinach should never be eaten with eggs because its oxalates supposedly steal nutrients and prevent your muscles from using protein. That's not an accurate way to describe what happens. Spinach is an extremely nutritious food. It's rich in folate, vitamin K, carotenoids, and other beneficial plant compounds. And for most people, there is no reason to eliminate it. Oxalates can reduce the absorption of certain minerals, particularly calcium, and people who are prone to calcium oxalate kidney stones may need to pay closer attention to high oxalate foods. But the idea that a handful of spinach next to your eggs somehow shuts down muscle protein synthesis isn't supported by good human evidence. So don't throw away your spinach. If you enjoy spinach with breakfast, you can absolutely keep it. But there is a smarter way to think about your plate. If you're trying to increase protein at breakfast, don't let a huge pile of low-protein vegetables replace the foods that provide the protein your muscles need. Keep the vegetables, increase the protein. That's the important distinction. And there's another simple trick. Cooking spinach can substantially reduce its oxalate content, especially when it is boiled and the cooking water is discarded. So if you love spinach but have been told you shouldn't eat it, you don't necessarily have to give it up. Cook it, or simply enjoy it at another meal. The second vegetable is tomatoes, and this one has been surrounded by even more internet misinformation. You may have heard that tomatoes are too acidic to eat with eggs. You've probably seen claims that tomatoes interfere with pepsin, prevent protein digestion, or somehow cause the protein in eggs to pass through your body unused. There's no strong evidence that eating a normal serving of ripe tomatoes with eggs causes that problem. Your stomach is already highly acidic. It is designed to digest protein. A few slices of tomato aren't going to suddenly turn off your digestive system. And tomatoes are valuable. They're one of the best dietary sources of lycopene, a carotenoid that has been studied extensively for its relationship with cardiovascular and overall health. So again, don't think of tomatoes as the enemy. If you like tomatoes with your eggs, that's fine. But here's something you can do to make them even more useful. Cook them. Heat can increase the amount of lycopene your body can access, especially when tomatoes are cooked with a little healthy fat, such as olive oil. So instead of worrying that tomatoes are ruining your eggs, think about preparation. A warm tomato and egg breakfast can be perfectly nutritious. And here's another myth worth killing right now. You've probably heard someone say that tomatoes contain solanine and therefore damage your muscles. That's misleading. Solanine is associated primarily with green potatoes and other nightshade plants. Tomatoes contain tomatine, a different glycoalkaloid, and ripe tomatoes contain relatively small amounts. There is no good evidence that eating normal amounts of ripe tomatoes causes muscle weakness in healthy adults. So don't let fear-based nutrition videos turn a healthy food into something dangerous. Now let's talk about bell peppers. This one has an interesting twist. Raw bell peppers are not harmful to your protein digestion. Their fiber doesn't somehow steal protein from your eggs. Your digestive system is fully capable of handling them, but cooking them can make the texture easier to chew and digest, and it can make certain carotenoids easier for your body to access. And red bell peppers are particularly impressive because they're packed with vitamin C. Vitamin C plays many roles in the body, including supporting collagen production and helping your body absorb non-heme iron from plant foods. So if you enjoy peppers with eggs, cooking them in a little olive oil is a great option. And now we get to the part I really want you to remember. Instead of searching for vegetables that you need to fear, let's build a breakfast around foods that give your aging muscles more of what they actually need. The first one is mushrooms. Mushrooms are fascinating because some varieties can provide vitamin D when they have been exposed to ultraviolet light. Look at the package. Some mushrooms are specifically labeled as vitamin D enhanced or UV exposed. That's useful because vitamin D plays an important role in bone and muscle function. Low vitamin D status is common in older adults, although the exact prevalence varies between studies and populations. And vitamin D isn't a magic muscle-building drug. It doesn't replace exercise. It doesn't replace protein. But if you're deficient, correcting that deficiency matters for normal muscle and bone function. Now imagine the combination. Eggs provide high-quality protein. Mushrooms add fiber, B vitamins, minerals, and, when specially treated, vitamin D. You're not looking for one miracle food, you're building a better meal. And there's an easy way to prepare it. Slice your mushrooms, put them in a pan with a small amount of olive oil, let them brown, then add your eggs. The result is simple, filling, and much more interesting than eating the same plain eggs every morning. And here's something important. You may see claims online telling you to put mushrooms in direct sunlight for a precise number of minutes to create a huge amount of vitamin D. Don't rely on kitchen hacks as a substitute for knowing your actual vitamin D status. If you have concerns about vitamin D, ask your healthcare professional whether testing makes sense for you. Because the goal isn't to chase a number from a viral video. The goal is to know what your body actually needs. Now let's move to the second vegetable, asparagus. Asparagus doesn't contain a huge amount of protein. That's not why I like it here. It's valuable because it provides folate, fiber, vitamin K, and several other micronutrients. Folate is involved in normal cell division and the metabolism of homocysteine. And homocysteine is a blood marker that has been associated in research with cardiovascular and neurological health, as well as physical function. But here's an important distinction. Don't look at asparagus as a treatment for sarcopenia. It isn't. Think of it as part of an overall nutrient-dense diet. Steam it for a few minutes. You want it tender, but still slightly crisp. Add a little olive oil, then put it beside your eggs. Now you've got a breakfast that looks completely different from the typical toast and coffee routine, and there's another benefit. Asparagus contains fiber. As we get older, maintaining a healthy diet with enough fiber becomes increasingly important for digestive and metabolic health. Your gut doesn't exist separately from the rest of your body. What you eat influences the environment in your digestive system, which is one reason a varied diet rich in vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and other minimally processed foods is so valuable. But remember something, vegetables support your health. Protein supplies the building blocks for muscle. Don't confuse the two. If your breakfast contains 3 eggs and a mountain of vegetables, but only 18 grams of protein, adding another serving of asparagus won't magically take you to 30 grams. You may need another protein source. And this is where a very simple addition can make a big difference. Cottage cheese, plain Greek yogurt, or another high-protein food you enjoy. A few spoonfuls can push your breakfast closer to the protein range many older adults need. That is a much more useful strategy than worrying about whether tomato slices are somehow attacking your eggs. Now let's come back to bell peppers. This is one of my favorite breakfast vegetables, especially red bell peppers. They're loaded with vitamin C, they're colorful, they're naturally sweet when cooked, and they take only a few minutes to prepare. Slice 1. Add it to your pan with mushrooms. Cook for 5 or 6 minutes, then add your eggs. Now you've got protein from the eggs, vitamin C from the pepper, fiber and micronutrients from the vegetables, and potentially vitamin D if you've chosen vitamin D enhanced mushrooms. That's a much stronger breakfast pattern. And there's another reason vitamin C matters. Iron is important for transporting oxygen throughout the body. Iron deficiency can contribute to fatigue and reduced physical performance. Vitamin C can increase the absorption of non-heme iron, the form found in plant foods. Your eggs themselves provide some iron, but the bigger lesson is that a balanced diet can help you get and absorb a range of nutrients. This is what healthy aging looks like. Not one miracle ingredient, not one forbidden vegetable, a collection of small decisions that work together. And there's one part of this conversation that may be even more important than the vegetables. Protein distribution. A lot of older adults eat very little protein at breakfast, maybe coffee and toast. Then they have a sandwich for lunch, then a larger portion of meat or fish at dinner. The total protein might look reasonable when you add everything together, but your muscles don't necessarily respond simply because you hit a daily total. Many experts recommend distributing protein across meals instead of eating most of it at dinner. That's especially relevant for older adults who are trying to maintain muscle. So if you only change one meal, breakfast is a reasonable place to start. Instead of 3 eggs alone, think about 3 eggs plus another protein-rich food. For example, eggs with Greek yogurt on the side, or eggs with cottage cheese, or eggs with another protein source that fits your dietary needs. Then add your vegetables. Now you're solving the real problem. You're not eliminating healthy foods, you're improving the balance of the meal. And there's one more piece that cannot be ignored: exercise. You can eat the perfect breakfast every morning and still lose muscle if you never give your muscles a reason to stay strong. Your muscles respond to resistance. That doesn't mean you need to become a bodybuilder. It can mean chair stands, resistance bands, light weights, bodyweight exercises, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, working with a physical therapist or qualified trainer if you need guidance. The nutrition gives your body the materials. Resistance exercise gives your body the reason to use them. Think of it this way: protein is the lumber. Exercise is the construction order. Without the signal to build, your body has less reason to invest those materials in muscle. Now imagine a 72-year-old woman named Donna. She has eaten eggs for years. Every morning, she makes 3 eggs with vegetables. She believes she's doing everything right, but lately she has noticed that carrying laundry upstairs is harder. She uses the railing more often. Getting up from the sofa takes a little more effort. Nothing dramatic happened. That's the dangerous part. There's no single moment when she says, "Today I lost muscle." Instead, small changes accumulate. So she changes her approach. She keeps the eggs. She adds a protein-rich side. She starts cooking her vegetables. She adds resistance exercises several times a week. And she becomes more consistent. 3 weeks later, she notices something small. The laundry basket feels lighter. Not because the basket changed, because she is becoming stronger. That is the kind of change worth chasing. Not a miracle, not a promise that one vegetable will rebuild your body overnight. Progress. And you should know something else. You may not feel different after one breakfast. You may not see a difference after 1 week. That's normal. Muscle is built over time. The goal is consistency. Eat enough protein, distribute it across your meals, choose a variety of vegetables, stay physically active, get adequate sleep, and address vitamin and mineral deficiencies when they actually exist. That's the foundation. Now, before you leave, I want you to remember 3 things. First, don't fear vegetables with eggs. Spinach, tomatoes, and bell peppers are not toxic combinations. The internet often turns a small nutritional detail into a dramatic warning. You don't need that. Second, don't let vegetables replace protein. If 3 eggs give you about 18 grams of protein and you're trying to reach a higher protein target at breakfast, add another protein-rich food rather than simply adding more vegetables. And third, think about your vegetables as partners. Mushrooms can provide vitamin D when they're specially treated. Asparagus gives you folate, fiber, and other nutrients. Cooked bell peppers provide an impressive amount of vitamin C and become a delicious addition to eggs. That is a much more useful way to think about breakfast. And please remember that individual needs matter. If you have kidney disease, a history of kidney stones, diabetes, or another medical condition, your ideal diet may be different. If you take medications such as warfarin or medicines that affect potassium levels, don't make major dietary changes without discussing them with your healthcare professional. And if you're concerned about muscle loss, don't wait for a fall to investigate it. Ask your doctor about your strength, physical function, nutrition, and whether you need screening or testing. Sometimes the most important health warning isn't pain. It's something as simple as struggling to stand up. So tomorrow morning, don't ask yourself, which vegetable should I be afraid of? Ask yourself a better question. Does this breakfast give my muscles enough protein and my body enough nutrients to stay strong? That question can change the way you eat, and it can change the way you think about aging. Because getting older does not mean your muscles are finished. Your body can still adapt. Your muscles can still respond. You can still become stronger. You just have to give your body the right reasons and the right materials. If this video gave you one useful idea, take a second to like it. That small action helps this information reach other older adults who may be quietly struggling with the same problem. And if you want more practical, science-based health information for staying strong and independent as you age, subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep breaking complicated health topics down into simple steps you can actually use. Finally, tell me in the comments what you eat with your eggs in the morning. Do you use spinach, tomatoes, mushrooms, peppers, or something completely different? And tell me what country you're watching from. I read the comments, and your answer could give someone else a breakfast idea they never considered. Your goal isn't to find a perfect food, it's to build a pattern your body can use. Because the breakfast on your plate tomorrow morning isn't just about satisfying your hunger. It can be one small opportunity to tell your body, I still need these muscles. Let's keep them. Here's the continuation, written to flow naturally from the previous ending and maintain the same voiceover style. And there's one final piece I want you to think about tonight. You may be doing almost everything right at breakfast, but if you spend the next 8 hours sitting in a chair, your muscles are still missing one of the most important signals they need. Movement. Your muscles don't just need nutrients, they need a reason to stay. Think about what happens when someone wears a cast for several weeks. The muscle underneath doesn't disappear because the person suddenly stopped eating protein. It shrinks because the muscle isn't being used. You don't need a cast for that process to begin. Long periods of inactivity can send a similar message to your body. That's why something as simple as standing up throughout the day can matter. Walk around your house. Take the stairs when you're able. Carry a light grocery bag. Stand up from your chair several times. And if your doctor says it's safe, add some form of resistance exercise. Even 2 or 3 short sessions each week can become a powerful signal. Your breakfast provides the building materials. Your movement tells your body where those materials are needed. And that's the bigger lesson behind everything we've discussed. Don't look for one magical vegetable. Don't eliminate foods because someone on the internet called them toxic. And don't assume that because you're eating healthy, your muscles automatically know what to do with every bite. Instead, build your breakfast intentionally. Start with enough high-quality protein. Add vegetables that you enjoy. Cook them if you prefer them that way. Include a variety of foods throughout the day. Stay active and give your body time, because strength doesn't disappear overnight, and it doesn't return overnight either. But small changes repeated over weeks and months can create a very different future. Maybe that means getting out of your favorite chair without using your hands. Maybe it means carrying your groceries from the car without stopping. Maybe it means walking up the stairs and realizing you're not holding the railing anymore. Those moments may sound small, they're not. They're signs of independence. And independence is one of the most valuable things you can protect as you get older. So tomorrow morning, when you stand in your kitchen and crack those eggs into the pan, remember what we've talked about. You don't need a complicated diet. You don't need expensive supplements. You don't need a refrigerator full of exotic superfoods. You need a consistent pattern: protein, vegetables, movement, recovery, and patience. That combination is far more powerful than any single food trend. And if you're already eating eggs every morning, don't stop just because someone told you they're wrong. Build around them. Add another source of protein if you need it. Add mushrooms. Try cooked peppers. Add asparagus. Keep spinach or tomatoes if you enjoy them. The goal isn't restriction. The goal is making your breakfast work harder for you. And please remember, if you're dealing with unexplained weakness, repeated falls, rapid weight loss, difficulty climbing stairs, or a sudden decline in physical function, don't try to solve it with breakfast alone. Talk with your healthcare professional. Sometimes weakness has an underlying cause that needs proper evaluation. But if your health is otherwise stable and you're simply trying to protect your strength as you age, start with the basics, because your muscles are listening. Every meal sends a message. Every walk sends a message. Every time you stand up instead of staying seated, you're sending a message. And the message you want your body to receive is simple. I still use these muscles. I still need them, and I'm going to give them what they need to stay. If you found this video useful, hit the like button before you go. It helps more people discover this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. We have plenty more practical, science-based strategies coming for healthy aging, strength, energy, and independence. And I want to hear from you. What's your breakfast tomorrow going to look like? 3 eggs and mushrooms? Eggs with cooked peppers? Eggs with asparagus? Or do you have another combination that works for you? Put it in the comments. Your answer might give someone else an idea that becomes part of their routine. And remember this one sentence the next time you're standing in your kitchen. You're not eating breakfast just to get through the morning. You're giving your body instructions for how you want to move through the years ahead. Take care of those muscles, because the goal isn't simply to live longer, it's to stay strong enough to enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build.